Today we're going to talk about how to convert an expired investment listing into a closed deal, guys. And I want you to bear with me. The video is a little shaky. I do these videos on my way to appointments so I can allocate or utilize the most time possible to be able to create and provide value. If you like my videos, please like, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and follow me at Oregon Real Estate Expert on Instagram. So let's dig right into it, guys. I like to use selling through stories or coaching through stories. And today I want to talk about an expired investment property. I have an ISA that calls all non-owner occupied expireds. The reason for this is somebody owns those rental properties and had an inkling or the premonition that they wanted to sell, but it just didn't get the job done. As an investor, I'm able to look at these properties and kind of figure out what the solution to the problem was, typically, and that really is based upon usually price, tenants, or the condition of the property or location of the property. It's not rocket science, guys, but I want to dig right into it. I called it an expired. After my ISA had booked an appointment, there was several touches to get that phone appointment completed. So guys, be very diligent in your lead follow-up. Make sure you get to 7, 8, 10 touches before you throw them in the long-term nurture pile. I finally got a hold of this person. They were going through some medical issues. They had originally tried to list the property after they had done a massive rehab to the property. So the very first tenants that she had put into the property, right when she moved to her second house and became a first-time investor, had destroyed the property, guys. She didn't have a proper lease in place. She didn't collect the right security deposits. They took all of her appliances, they trashed the place, and she ended up spending $30,000 to $45,000 in rehab. And I'm talking new floors, new windows, new paint, new appliances, new everything, hot water tanks, everything. So this rental property was put on the market by another agent with great photography. It was put on the market vacant, and it had everything going for it from looking at it online, but it only had 3 or 4 showings and no offers in the 90 days it was listed. And this was only a year and a half ago, guys, when the market was still hot, it was heating up, and the market was really moving forward. So there really is no excuse for not getting an offer on the property other than a few variable factors that I figured out. So we're about 2 minutes into this video. I want to really dig into how to convert an expired lead. I called her. There's 3 questions you want to ask. Why do you think it didn't sell? What is the current status of the property? And what are you trying to net from this sale? Okay, those are the 3 most important questions. So first question, why do you think it didn't sell? I listened to her. I didn't make any suggestions, recommendations, or pass any of my opinion on to her of why I didn't think it sold. I just listened. Number 2, I asked her who's renting it currently, what's the rents, who's paying for utilities, what updates and upgrades you do. I data collected everything, guys. So I have a good status, a benchmark to go off of. And number 3, I asked her what would be a good amount to net from the sale after you pay off your existing mortgage. So we have a financial goal, we have a current benchmark and status of who's living there, what's going on, and we have her opinion of what happened in the past. I looked at all this data, and the 4th thing you're going to ask for is the appointment, to meet her out there in person so she can give a 24-hour notice. We can walk the property, and if she's ready to sign the listing agreement at that point, then we'll move forward. But you need those 3 questions answered, and you need to schedule an appointment on that first call. That is your goal. Let me repeat that. First is why it didn't sell. 2nd is all the information about the property, includes all the numerical and financial data. Number 3 is what they need to set, what the net to seller is, and 4 is getting that appointment booked. Okay, I went out there, found out that she had medical issues, she had an emotional tie to the property, the first tenants had trashed it, she had done $30,000 to $45,000, that she had to refi out of that property in order to get that up to par. She had now a great tenant who was paying rent on time, paying all the utilities, and all she was covering was taxes and insurance. Guys, it was a good rental. But here are the unknown variables of why this is super important to get that appointment, because if I would have just taken the listing, I wouldn't have understood these specific things about that property. reason it probably didn't get an offer was one, price. The second reason why it didn't probably get an offer was the location of the property. The location was on an up-and-coming street, but an area of town that a lot of people kind of look the other way in. Some of the houses are being remodeled, some of the houses are deteriorating, and pride of ownership can be lacking in several departments, okay? Number three is the layout of the house. The bathroom was through the laundry room, and one of the bedrooms was off the kitchen, and then two of the other bedrooms were off to the right of the living room, but none of them had closets. We'll talk about that in a second. Putting this forward, next is the price that she had it listed at. It was just at that pinnacle of too much before she had a verifiable rent roll and a Schedule E that showed a net operating income from the new tenant to justify the price that the old agent had put the property on from an investment standpoint. So what you're stuck with is you're not sure if it'll appraise. If an investor buys it, they have to put the loan to value at 25, 75, and you're stuck really marketing it to cash investors, or you got to evict a tenant to move them out. So all the variables of great photography, good copy, everything was there from the original agent, but she didn't really understand on how to sell that investment property through great marketing and also being able to cut through all those facts and address those issues that I had seen and adapted, right? We're in a market really where there's hardly any expired. So the reason that a property doesn't sell is either it's not marketed properly or it's not priced properly or it's an absolute POS. So what I'm getting at is that this video is not set up to bash the other agent. It's just to say that you need to know how to pivot for every type of property in order to market appropriately. So fast forward, taking that expired, you need to market significantly higher ad spend. You need to address what's lacking from those photos, what's lacking from that old property copy, and you need to be able to address, when you get phone calls for showings, the issues that they're going to proactively see when they get there. 4 days on the market, got an offer, full ask. They ended up backing out for no reason. 1 day before appraisal, we got it back into contract after doing a price reduction. When I originally met with her, I told her, hey, what do you think the property's worth? I think it's worth $270 to $280, probably tops, but I'm willing to list it for higher if you want to take a stab at it, because I know you went expired last time. So usually I don't do that, but with an investment properties, if it does pencil for an investor on a gross rent multiplier or a net operating income valuation, I'll look at it and price it a little higher to see if we can test the market. It went into contract, guys, at full ask. So it wasn't like I was crazy. We ended up accepting an offer that was about $13,000 less than what we had listed it for, but it still hit that income goal from the net to seller that we originally had spoken about. So when we did the price reductions, it wasn't like the end of the world conversation, because she's just looked at what her current mortgage debt service was, and then she looked at what we would probably net, and she said, hey, this is like $15,000 more than when I originally told you what my target was. So guys, within a year, she had remodeled the property, she had put a lot of money into it, she had found a great tenant, she had relisted it with somebody who was an investment specialist, and because I asked the right questions, I set the goal, and I marketed it the crap out of it. So originally she had 3 showings, no offers on the very first time she listed it. We had 23 showings, and we had 2 offers. First one was accepted and they backed out. The second one we accepted and it closed. So this isn't a video about what I do and it's going to happen and work every single time. But if you are diligent with your follow-up, getting that appointment set, answering those 3 questions, and then being able to build a roadmap and a framework. I told her exactly what I was going to do. I'm going to send it out to my 475 cash buyers on my investment side. I'm going to market this with X amount of dollars on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. I'm going to shoot video. I'm going to have virtual slideshows, and I'm going to make sure that I am communicating with your tenant along the way so we can get the most showings grouped together, and we get somebody in there that's a first-time home buyer that's willing to buy this, or an investor who wants to buy it for a long-term hold. I even went out there to help her break down the shelves the last day before the final walkthrough. I ended up sending a gift card to our tenant for being a great tenant throughout the process. And ultimately, guys, what I'm trying to say is that we turned a potential 90-day tenant headache eviction process into a 30-day move-out closing deal before the end of the year. Dealing with expireds, canceled, withdrawals, but mostly expireds, especially if they're investment properties, you have to look at it from a financial standpoint. You got to look at it from a pricing standpoint. You got to look at it from a location standpoint. You got to look at it from a what that house is built out of. This one was a cinder block house, so it didn't have everything going for it, guys. But there's always a potential market in every market that has a higher demand than inventory for a property. And as long as you can meet that financial goal of your seller, as long as you can communicate through the process, her exact words at the closing was, Dan, I just want to first and foremost say that this process working with you was night and day than any other real estate transaction I've ever done. You texted me, you kept me in the loop, you did exactly what you said you were going to do, and I relied and really trusted in you in getting this closed. And now I'm hitting that income goal. The tenant has moved out, there has been a bunch of issues, and we're now able to move on to the next chapter of my life. And I want to say that, guys, if you go into the front end of working with expireds with the only objective of closing the deal and making a commission check, you'll never have these types of success stories. But if you go into the expired mentality and mindset of helping people, understanding it's not always going to be easy. There's a lot of logistics with investment properties, and building a great rapport with both the real estate agent and the tenant, you can succeed at marketing to expired investment properties. I'm telling you guys, I was just as skeptical. I wasn't calling them myself on purpose. I avoided expireds because there was a reason why they didn't sell. But now I look at them as a challenge. There's always some underlying reason on why it didn't sell. Is it a stubborn seller that's not willing to negotiate on price? Is it somebody who gets cold feet in the transaction? Is there issues with the property inspection? Is it going to appraise? Does the current market rents versus what they're charging for rent nowhere near each other, right? There's a plethora of variables that are going to affect the value of that property and its probability of sale. So what I want you to understand is before you call any expired and you jump on a triple dialer and you just start spraying and praying, I want you to look at the listing, look at the photos, just spend that 2 to 3 minutes of gathering data in your head and start making smart calls, not cold calls. Because when my ISA originally reached out to me and said, I have booked an appointment for this property, I spent that 2 to 5 minutes to gather all the facts. And when I first had that initial call, I didn't share any of that information that I had gathered. I listened. Listen. Make sure that you are always listening to your prospects. The reason she booked an appointment for me, the reason she put a 24-hour notice and had me meet the tenant is because I listened. We set the specific framework of what we were trying to accomplish, and at the end of the day, we got it done. That's all that matters. And she may refer me to her parents to sell their house. So I want you to take this video, guys. I want you to make smart calls, not cold calls. I want you to understand what questions to ask, when to listen and when to shut up. And once you get into the transaction, I want you to gather those facts in that appointment to be able to build better marketing, better velocity, better exposure, so that you can go from 3 showings to 20 plus showings, so that you can go from no offers to 2 offers, right? You only need 1 offer, guys. That's what I always say. 1 person to write a good offer that your seller accepts, and you close the deal. So if you like this content, guys, like I said in the beginning, follow me on Instagram at Oregon Real Estate Expert. Like, subscribe to my YouTube channel. I apologize about the volume. As I said, I like to shoot these videos when I'm on my way to appointments and things so I can best utilize the time, but provide content to anybody out there who could benefit from this. Have a great day, and my contact information is below. Take care, guys.